The restaurant buzzed with the sound of plates clattering and conversations swirling through the air. It was a busy evening as customers filled every table to enjoy dinner that promised exquisite flavors and a comforting atmosphere. Among the waitstaff was a young man named Ethan, known for his unwavering dedication to his work and a kind heart that resonated with everyone he met. Ethan had always been the kind of person who put others first, often at the cost of his own comfort. He had been working at the restaurant for 3 years now, always smiling, always ready to assist. On this particular evening, as the crowd reached its peak, an elderly woman entered the restaurant. She walked with slow, deliberate steps, her frail frame supported by a cane. Her eyes scanned the room, searching for an empty seat. Ethan noticed her immediately and rushed over to assist. Even though he was already juggling multiple tables, he gently guided her to a small table near the window. Pulling out a chair for her, she smiled at him with gratitude, her eyes twinkling with warmth. The woman, whose name was Margaret, spoke softly as she ordered a simple soup and bread. It was clear that she was not there for extravagance, but for the comfort of a warm meal. Ethan made sure her order was placed promptly and returned with the food. Within minutes, he noticed how she struggled slightly to lift the spoon to her lips, and without hesitation, he asked if she needed any help. Margaret shook her head, but thanked him for his kindness. As the night went on, Ethan kept an eye on Margaret, ensuring she had everything she needed. It was then that he noticed a group of men at a nearby table. They were loud and boisterous, their laughter cutting through the ambience of the restaurant. One of them, a man in a sharp suit, leaned toward Margaret's table and made a comment that Ethan couldn't hear. But Margaret's expression faltered. Ethan approached the group politely, asking them to lower their voices and show respect. The man in the suit looked at Ethan with disdain, his voice dripping with sarcasm as he dismissed Ethan's request. Margaret finished her meal slowly, her movements deliberate. As she prepared to leave, Ethan noticed her struggling to retrieve her wallet from her bag. He stepped in, once again offering to assist, but this time, she waved him off with a soft laugh. Telling him she could manage, Ethan respected her independence and stepped back, though he remained nearby just in case. As Margaret rose to leave, Ethan saw her stumble slightly. He instinctively reached out to steady her. She looked up at him, her face a mixture of embarrassment and relief. As he helped her walk toward the exit, the group of men began to mock the scene, their laughter cruel and echoing through the room. Ethan's patience finally snapped, and he turned to them, his voice firm as he asked them to show some decency. The man in the suit stood up, his towering figure meant to intimidate, but Ethan did not back down. The manager of the restaurant, noticing the commotion, hurried over and assessed the situation. The man in the suit was a regular customer, a high spender whose visits were highly valued by the establishment. The manager's face twisted in frustration as he turned to Ethan and demanded an explanation. Ethan explained calmly that he was simply ensuring Margaret's safety and comfort. But the manager's focus was on appeasing the disgruntled customer, not on the waiter's intentions. Margaret finally reached the door, and before stepping out, she turned back to Ethan and thanked him once more. Her voice was filled with emotion as she expressed her gratitude for his kindness. Ethan watched her leave, his heart heavy with the weight of the situation. Back inside, the manager had made his decision. He told Ethan to apologize to the customer, but Ethan refused. He stood by his principles, insisting that he had done the right thing. The manager's frustration boiled over, and he told Ethan that his services were no longer required. Ethan left the restaurant that night with a mix of emotions swirling within him. He was angry, frustrated, but also at peace with his actions. He knew he had done what was right, even if it had cost him his job. He walked home under the dim streetlights, replaying the events in his mind, wondering if he could have handled things differently. The next day, as Ethan tried to figure out his next steps, a knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. he opened it to find an older man standing there. The man introduced himself as Henry, Margaret's husband. His presence was commanding yet gentle, and his eyes held a kindness that put Ethan at ease. Henry explained that Margaret had told him everything about what had happened at the restaurant the previous night. He expressed his gratitude for Ethan's actions, stating that it was rare to find someone who would go to such lengths for a stranger. Henry then revealed that he was not just Margaret's husband, but also the owner of a well-known chain of restaurants across the city. Ethan listened in disbelief as Henry shared his story. He explained how he had built his business on the principles of respect and compassion, values he saw reflected in Ethan's actions. Henry went on to offer Ethan a job at one of his restaurants, a position that would allow him to grow and thrive under a management that shared his values. Ethan's heart swelled with gratitude and disbelief. He accepted the offer with humility and a renewed sense of purpose. He started his new job the following week, quickly earning the respect of his colleagues and customers alike. His dedication and kindness continued to shine through, and he found himself in an environment that appreciated his values. As the weeks turned into months, Ethan learned more about Margaret and Henry. Their stories inspired him, their kindness and resilience, a testament to the power of compassion. Ethan's life had taken an unexpected turn, but he realized that sometimes the most challenging moments lead to the most profound transformations. He carried the lessons he had learned into every interaction, treating each person with the same respect and kindness he had shown Margaret that fateful night. And in doing so, he discovered not just a job, but a purpose that gave his life new meaning.